found water.
That looks like paddleable water.
Oh yeah.
After driving for hours in the desert, we found the oasis.
We found the green spot.
But what's interesting is this is USA and America. And that is Mexico right there.
Right across there. Wow. All right.
The lower canyons of the Rio Grande are one of the most remote stretches of wild river in the lower 48. Straddling the border between the USA and Mexico, this 200-kilometer stretch of the Rio Grande makes for a challenging, remote, wild river trip that sees fewer than 200 paddlers attempt each year. Up to the challenge, in March of 2017, we set out on a 9-day canoe trip to experience this wild and scenic river for ourselves. We began our adventure at Rio Grande Village in Big Bend National Park, exactly where Wayne and I finished our 175-kilometer paddle through the Great Unknown back in 2015. The first stretch would take us through the majestic Boquillas Canyon to the abandoned Mexican mining town of La Linda. From there, we would leave almost all traces of civilization behind as we entered a harsh landscape of sprawling desert, jagged mountains, and imposing chasms. This lower stretch is flanked by remote river canyons, with walls towering nearly 2,000 feet overhead. Where the Rio Grande narrows, it tumbles over numerous sets of challenging, boulder-riddled rapids. At high flows, some of these rapids approach Class 4. After more than a week of paddling through this desolate landscape, our trip comes to an end at the Dryden Crossing Takeout. Alright, so we're just about to start a 9-day canoe trip through Boquillas Canyon and the lower canyons of the Rio Grande River. We're starting here in Big Bend National Park. And as we got some low flows, it's only about 54 cubic feet per second, but our takeout at Dryden is about 350. So hopefully along the way we're going to hit some water. We're going to be immersed in the canyons, baking under this hot desert sun, but it should be a fantastic trip.
We just got on the water just a few minutes ago, and it is absolutely beautiful country here. We're just so thrilled to be out here to do this trip. And the water levels are low, but I've heard that we might have to drag through some sections, but I'm not worried too much about it. It's certainly going to be worth it paddling through this country. How you guys doing? Ready for the canyon?
Always.
Ready for this canyon, baby.
There's a slot right over in there, and that's where we're heading. So I guess we should join these guys. Deep in the canyon, and I am just totally mesmerized by the scenery in here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Literally, it is neck-straining gorgeous here. It's unfortunate we lost our other GoPro because that one we wanted to mount on the canoe as we paddled through here, but we'll have to do without. We'll still be able to get some footage to showcase this gorgeous canyon. Good morning. It's day 2 and we're in the Boquillas Canyon. So we're just about to head out. It is absolutely gorgeous in here. I just love it in here. It's so unique and so different from Ontario really altogether, but it is really spectacular here. We're heading over this way. It's just continue down the canyon, and you can see the morning light just pierce through the canyon walls there, so it's absolutely gorgeous. At least it's cool, not too hot right now.
It's amazing. Look at this, it looks cool, right?
So where are we, folks?
We're just past, I'm gonna butcher saying it, Rio Grande. It's a rapid that usually doesn't exist and there wasn't much flow to it. Rio Grande.
Arara Banadu.
Whatever. We passed a rapid. We're in Boquillas Canyon and we're gonna paddle in about 2 miles. We'll hit Cow Canyon and then we're gonna hit the Rabbit Ears Formation.
We're gonna celebrate Cow Canyon, eh, Leah?
Yeah, we're gonna move the entire time.
I think this is like a primitive habitat for, you know, people who may be traveling through this area. It provides obviously a cool refuge from the heat, and it's flat enough here so that someone obviously could sleep here. But over in the back here, based on soot from the fire, you can see that they might have had a fire here. They probably could have cooked and boiled water, but it's really neat.
One of the really cool features about paddling the lower canyons of the Rio Grande is all these prehistoric structures and dwellings, stone huts or caves. There's even pictographs and petroglyphs along the way too as you're paddling down the river. Really neat to see that this area has quite the history. So we've just gone through Boquillas Canyon on the Rio Grande River and we're approaching the lower canyons. Now the lower canyons of the Rio Grande, they're paddled, but they're seldom paddled compared to the areas of the Rio Grande River and Big Bend National Park. And one of the big draws of the lower canyons are that you're almost immersed in canyons the entire paddling time. There's also a bunch of rapids, some approaching class 4. And thankfully for us, we're gonna approach those on days 3 to 4 when we have less weight in our boats. A lot of the things we have to bring, water, a toilet, and a fire pan, adds extra weight to our canoes. But the more of that we consume as we're going downriver, the more freeboard we'll have to go through some of those rapids.
Okay, so we're at our second campsite for the night. We've entered now like a low area. I guess, I don't know if you want to call it the lowlands. We pretty much paddled through a bunch of vegetation and like some big grasses. I don't even know what they are. But we found this nice spot mainly because it was so hot. We needed to find some shade and some relief from the heat. And so we set up over there. The view here is still pretty spectacular. We got out of that bushy area and it opened up here and you can see the mountain ranges in the distance. Good morning. It's day 3 of our epic trip on the Rio Grande. It is an amazing trip so far. And I can't wait to see the rest of it. It's living up to its expectations and more. And it is something just so different from our Ontario landscape that I think it's just blowing me away. And I'm really glad I took the opportunity to come here. So can't wait to see the rest of the river and the canyons.
Another hot day out here. We've just got an open expanse of the Boquillas floodplain to paddle through, so it's going to be a hot and sweltering day. But we got to get past La Linda, and we've got about 20 miles to go.
It looks pretty bony all over. Looks like a ledge in front of us, so. There's a hole. Never mind, we're good.
Come to a rapid here, and best line is through this overhanging cane. After that, it's going to spit us out into a pretty tight wall shot, so we're going to need some quick maneuvering to get through this little section here. I don't think it's going to be too tricky, but it's going to be fun. Got another interesting rapid here, a lot more cane, but this one's a little more interesting because there is a boulder right in the middle of the run. A little bit of a hazard for pinning. Don't want to wrap the boat on this one, so I'm going to use a little bit of caution as we try to get around this one here.
They made it. I think we'll let Brad speak on my behalf.
And you know, the sun's getting to my head, and I want a cold Pepsi.
So we just crossed through La Linda, Mexico, and that's the takeout for the Boquillas Canyon run. That's about 25 miles of paddling. But as we've added on the lower canyons, that's an additional 83 miles of paddling. So we've got about 5 more days to get through here. And now we're just entering Heath Canyon, and soon we'll be in Horse Canyon. We've kind of left the flat plains of the Boquillas floodplain behind, and hopefully we'll be bouncing around canyon walls for the next couple days. It's pretty cool how the landscape's changed out here. We're paddling through a lot of these flatlands with rolling hills, and the canyon walls have kind of receded to the distance. But as we're approaching Temple Canyon here, the cliff walls are starting to pick up again, and even the river's pace is starting to quicken as it constricts through the canyon passages.
So it is just past 8 o'clock. The wind's really picked up, and the weird thing is it's hot. So the temperature's gone up, I don't know, like between 5 and 10 Celsius. And we've been looking at our watches and the barometers have been dropping. And right now the sky is clear, but the wind is definitely getting stronger. And we're thinking that maybe a storm might come through here. So we normally leave all the stuff out, but I think we're gonna pack everything away just in case the storm does come through here. So you can see the cane just shaking back and forth. Despite the wind, it's friggin' hot. It's weird, like we were so nice and cool here in the shade, and now this warm air has come through, and even with the wind, we're just hot. So, just another interesting aspect of being out here in the desert, I guess.
I think we're going to get some Brad weather.
Brad weather? What's Brad weather?
Crazy storm. How's that?
Why is that Brad weather?
Because this is your trip.
If anything goes wrong,
It's you. Like the toilet almost fell over, okay? That's yes. It's Brad weather.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to beautiful Temple Canyon. Absolutely gorgeous morning here as we're gonna work our way down about 20 miles. We're gonna try to get down to Taylor's farm today, but it's absolutely spectacular morning here in Temple Canyon. Almost wish we could stay here for another couple days. It's that gorgeous.
So we haven't had to drag very much on this river, but this part got a little shallow, so there we go. So Brad just removed his action cam because it's going to take a 90-degree turn right into the cane. And we've been eating a lot of cane lately with this low water levels, and the shallow water makes the lines very, well, you don't have choices, let's just say. You just have to go where the deepest channel is, and quite often it's in the cane. Here we go, let's see what they do. Oh!
Holy shit, that one sucked. Holy crap, I got rocketed by that.
You're still able to paddle though.
Bring your plot into there, so you're going to want to pull me on the right side.
Scorcher of a day. It got up to about 40 something degrees when we were up on the desert poking around some of the Black Gap area. This is Camp 4. We've got this nice flat rock here with a view of the mountains and the canyons in the background. It's almost 7 o'clock and the sun's getting lower on the horizon. It's been a long, hot day. Did a bit of side trail and exploring. We're moving at a slower pace just because of that heat, but yeah, man, it saps you. Fortunately, we don't have shade out here, but tomorrow and for the remainder of the trip, we should hopefully be in canyons.
We should be hitting some whitewater tomorrow, and hopefully for the remainder of the trip we'll be hitting whitewater every day. The one bit of whitewater we hit today wasn't really anything at all, so we'll see how it goes, but we're getting hungry and it's dinner time. Just another hot day out here in Texas and Mexico.
Good morning. It's morning of, I believe it's day 5, maybe 6, I'm not sure anymore. We've been having an amazing time on this trip. Every day is a new experience. We're seeing new things. I mean, just being in a desert environment opposed to being in the boreal forest is you know, different enough as it is. Can't say enough about this place and this trip.
Rocks on the right down there though. See those rocks? That's fun. So I'm gonna come in on an angle here. And ride it down. Yeah. Good job. Hola amigos. So we're floating down the lower canyons of the Rio Grande. We just went through Big Canyon right now. And behind us here is an abandoned fish camp. It's pretty cool.
So here's the little fish hut. We'll take you inside and give you a little view of what this place looks like.
It's a testament to time that this building is still standing out here. It's pretty cool. So we're camped here on Hot Springs Rapid. There's a big drop there. It's about a class 3 right now and we couldn't run it. There's a nice big rock in the center. It's a little risky when you're about 80 miles into a river trip in the middle of nowhere to run a loaded canoe and risk pinning there. One great feature about Hot Springs Rapid are the hot springs here, and there's a nice natural pool. It's fresh, clean water, but it's also 86 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's like a nice warm pool. So you're able to soak in there, relax, enjoy the nice desert breeze.
The nice thing about this water is that it's also clear. One of the things about the Rio Grande, it's basically like Mountain River, right? And there's silt in the river, so every time we come out, there's silt on all of us, and you can never really feel clean because as it dries, it leaves this like white film on you. So being in this spring was so nice and refreshing because we could totally clean ourselves of the silt and feel like clean for once, and besides the fact that it's warm. How are you guys enjoying this Turkish spa?
Oh, it's a great amigo.
But one of the most amazing things we've had was experiencing this hot spring. And we got to really enjoy soaking in this clear water.
This is day 6. Today though we've got a bit of a paddle. We've got 14 miles to get to Upper Madison Falls, which is our kind of goal for the day for camping, which itself is also a class 3 to 4 depending upon water levels. So we'll see if we're going to run that or not. With water levels low as they are, we're roughly below 3 feet on the Boquillas gauge. We'll see how runnable they are. So it should be an exciting day on the river. First one of the day. But along the way, we are enticed by the fact that there are 2 to 3 class 2s that we may face. You bit? All right. See that rock on our right we're keeping there? Now. Nice. Ready? Any words from the unwise?
Nope. We're that unwise, we don't know what to say. We leave
More
that,
headwinds
we
today.
We leave that to Brad Jennings, the pilot.
Oh, look, they're using solar.
Upper Madison. So we're here on Upper Madison Falls, and we've already run a bit of the first section. We've come to a bit of an impasse. It's low water levels. And there's an island out here, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to run this section unless we can cross the island and scout from the other side of the river. But there's a good drop and it's riddled with boulders, so we'll see what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some more scouting. Portage in Mexico. Cool, man.
It's peculiar that we've been seeing a lot of skulls, bull skulls, around this area. So I don't know, they must have been trying to run those rapids, and obviously it didn't go too well. So we were smart, we portaged around that one.
We're just about to leave Upper Madison Falls. It's hard to believe we've already been down here for a week. Today we've got Son of Burrow, we've got Lower Madison and a couple other rapids. We were able to scout actually from high up on the cliff there, Son of Burrow, and it looks like a bit of a boneyard. And the rapids on this trip have been pretty low. They're not really what the guidebooks are saying because we've actually been paddling far below the recommended river levels. If it says if it's below 3 feet, don't attempt the trip. So far we're finding it fine. The gauge was about 2.5, 2.8 when we left Boquillas. We just have to pick our way and find a good channel or line down some of the rapids. So we'll see what today brings. It's another hot and sunny day here in the lower canyons.
What do you want today, David?
I want ice cold Pepsi. I like the rapids if we can run them, but like I said, it's been pretty much a rocky mess. So we have to, it makes it challenging in the sense that you don't want to wrap the boat around all these rocks. But the flow is not that strong, so it doesn't really pose that much of a risk.
Here at Lower Madison Falls, these low flows, it's a technical boulder bash. There's a really large boulder kind of in the middle of the only open channel. We're gonna have to really try to avoid that, but I think we're gonna lose a bit of paint on this run.
Shit. Do you need help? Do you need help? It certainly makes a lot of stress for our bow paddlers because they have to do the draw, across, draw, and then, you know, that yelling back and forth, which makes for a great relationship builder. So I'm just up on a ledge here on Panther Rapid. The view here is spectacular. There's two channels, and this one is obviously a lot more rocky. So this is way easier. It's a center channel. There's some good standing waves, and it goes all the way back over this way, and it's a smooth run down the center channel right down to the end. This is what Anita and I just did, and it's what Brad and Leah are about to do. Nice.
Headwinds were brutal. If we didn't paddle, we'd be going backwards up the falls, okay?
Well, we want
know, Leah
mild.
wanted the wind, but we want tailwinds, okay?
A pretty cool cave right now. We're camped at San Francisco Rapids, and this place is essentially like a giant geode. It's a big cavernous space. There's a couple crystals everywhere here. High above San Francisco Rapids, way down there, but there's a washboard canyon out there too. It's a really, really cool spot to check out. The wind's whipping through here. There's a nice breeze. It's really, really cool. There's a window over there, a window down there, and a window out there. Lots of exits. And it's just howling through here. It's nice to escape the heat too. Really cool sight.
I am so blown away. I was stuck in this riverbed with boulders the size of homes. It's massive. If they pan around here, all you get are these massive smooth boulders that were ground down over time. It's absolutely incredible here. I'm just in awe. So it would have been a meeting of two big sources of water that would just clash here and made it some major turbulence and made its way down to the Rio. So it's just, I don't know, I'm just honestly overwhelmed, just blown away. Absolutely incredible place.
Well, it's another gorgeous morning here in the lower canyons. We're here in San Francisco Canyon. We're going to try to get as close as possible to the takeout today. So we're going to try to put some miles behind us.
The scenery is fantastic. The weather's been great. We haven't had any kind of rain. So, I mean, you can't beat it. So, away, forward, let's go.
Onward, upward.
Onward, upward, yeah.
Looking like a pretty straightforward class 2 flow-wise. There's a couple boulders to watch out for. Not too much in the way of pushy volume, but there's a hard wall shot right at the end there, so we might take on a little bit of water if we're not careful. Just another incredible day out here in the lower canyons. Really, really sad that this is our last full day out on the Rio Grande. So it's our final night here on the lower canyons of the Rio Grande River. We're camped here on the Mexican side because we couldn't really find much in the way of a campsite on the American side. And we also wanted to be pretty close to our takeout. We got to get there tomorrow at 12 noon to get the 4-hour shuttle back to where we put in at Rio Grande Village in Big Bend National Park. We're going to send everything off with a nice big fire, get the sound of rapids behind us here and the glowing canyon walls behind us as the sun sets. The temperature's actually perfect right now too. It's kind of an escape from this constant desert drought. So it's a bittersweet end, but it's also going to be a great way to end a trip.
Good morning. So it was a bittersweet time when it's the last morning of the trip, especially when you've had such an amazing time. And yeah, we're just packing up. We've only got like 3-4 miles left before we get to the takeout, where the company will shuttle us back to our vehicles. It's a 4-hour shuttle, so it's going to be a long drive back. But overall, this trip has been incredible. It's been amazing. We've had a great time. The water levels were low, of course, but you know what? We still able to paddle most of it. And unlike the book telling us that we should have canceled the trip, we still made the most of it, and it was still really enjoyable. Sad to see this beautiful environment go, but certainly blessed and truly thankful that we got to experience this wonderful place. So we just got to the takeout probably about 30 minutes ago, and we just carried out from the river. Luckily, the guy came an hour early, so it's perfect timing. So I think we just gotta sign a release form, and then we're on our way. These guys are Desert Sports, and they do a bunch of outfitting business. So that's awesome.